Hi, I'm Phyllis from southernfrugal.com. Well, this afternoon we're going to make a little, I'm just going to call it date pudding. It's very similar, almost the exact same recipe as persimmon pudding, only instead of persimmons we're going to use dates. So, now it's going to take about 2½ cups of dates. Let me turn this down. It's about 2½ cups, and these are just whole dates. And we're going to make this in the food processor. So I'm just kind of making sure they don't have any pits in them. Now, so far with these dates from nuts.com, I haven't found a single pit in any of them. But I just want to make double sure that all of those seeds are out. And what we're going to do is just kind of pulverize these dates. There's one. No, that was good. In the food processor, I'm just going to add about ½ cup of water, just regular tap water, and get them pulverized. Now, they're very similar to persimmons in their fiber content. They're very fibrous, of course. I think we're safe to say there's no pits in there. So again, this is 2½ cups, and I did kind of mash them down into this 2-cup measure, and then I had them piled up, so it's definitely 2½ cups. All right, I think we're safe with these. And I did have them frozen since I got them a month or so ago. And we're going to make this whole thing right in the food processor. Let me get this up so you can see. There we go. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is just get these puree. So I'm going to add ½ cup of water. This is going to take a little while, so we'll be back. Okay, we got the dates in somewhat of a paste situation there. So I'm going to go ahead and make the whole thing now in the Vitamix. So I'm going to add the spices now. This is 1/2 teaspoon, let's see if you can see that, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/8 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1/8 teaspoon of ginger. Now what the ginger does is kind of mellows out the cinnamon. So I'm just going to go ahead and dump that in. I'm also going to put in 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 2 whole large eggs, and of course the dates will continue to be pureed as we mix the rest of this up. I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, Now, I'm not going to use any salt because the flour that we're going to end up using is self-rising. It already has salt in it. And so we're using 3/4 cup of self-rising flour. And I do sift that and then measure it. And 1/4 cup of just plain cornmeal. And this happens to be stone ground, so you just want plain cornmeal. So I'm going to just mix the flour and the cornmeal together here. And that cornmeal is very fine ground, almost as fine as the flour. And we're going to set this aside and add it last. Alright, so I've got to get my half and half out of the refrigerator and we'll be right back. Okay, I also have preheated my oven to 350 degrees. Alright, now we're going to add 3/4 cup of just regular sugar. And we're going to add, let me get a paper towel. We're going to add 1/2 cup of melted butter. And I just put that in the microwave and melt it in the dish I'm going to cook the date pudding in. So that way I don't have to grease the dish, and plus it'll give a little bit of a crust on it. So I'm going to go ahead and dump that in. Now the butter is not hot, it's just warm melted. So you're leaving some of that butter in the dish because that's what's going to make that little crust on it. Alright, so we're ready to mix it up now. Now the only thing we haven't put in yet is the flour and the half and half. Now half and half, because some of you, I think in Australia they don't have half and half. What half and half is half like whipping cream and half milk. And people in this country use it a lot in their coffee, I think. Alright, so we're ready to get this mixed up now. Stir down those sides just a little bit. Smells really good. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is go ahead and put in 1/3 of the flour and the cornmeal mixture. And I'm going to go ahead and add at least 1/3 of the half and half. And again, this is not a cake, it's actually a pudding. Alright, we're ready. More flour and cornmeal. We'll go ahead and put in all the rest of the half and half. And now we're going to put in the rest of the flour and the cornmeal mixture. Alright, that's all there is to it. So we're just going to pour this in our little 8x8 Pyrex dish, and we're going to bake it in the oven at 350 degrees for probably an hour. So I'm going to dump it into the Pyrex dish now. Now this is going to puff way up in the oven, and then after I take it out of the oven, it's going to fall back down. But it's going to be a nice baked pudding. Get all that out of there. That's the only thing about using a food processor, it's hard to get everything out. Alright. Now this is going to puff way up. It'll puff way up like that. And then it'll fall back down. And then you'll have your pudding. Alright. I'm going to put this in the oven. When all this gets done, we'll be back. Okay, here's what it looks like just coming out of the oven. Now hopefully it's going to fall way back and be somewhat like a pudding. Alright, we'll be back. Okay, the baked date pudding is ready. Now you see how it all fell back. Now I've already cut it. We're going to give it a try. There's what it looks like. Now I just realized I don't have much whipping cream. In fact, I'm not sure there's any in here. We're going to give it a try. Yeah, we did have a little. There it is. It's very similar to the, let me back off. It's very similar to the persimmon pudding. Well, y'all can't see. There. Okay, we're going to give it a try. Now, the spices in it, it's very good. It's like, you can't see it very well on this black plate, but it's sort of like a cake that fell in between a pudding and a cake that fell somewhat. Anyway, this is like persimmon pudding, and it goes really well with whipped cream on top of it. And the spices you put in, it doesn't make it spicy. I don't know how to describe it. You don't want to put in so much cinnamon that you can taste the cinnamon. You don't want to put in so much nutmeg that you can taste it, but it gives it a different taste. And of course, the dates are very, very healthy for you, so it's a okay healthy dessert. Yeah, that's what we'll call it. It's sort of an okay. But I'm actually going to call it baked date pudding. That's what we'll call it. Anyway, I'm going to see if Mr. Bucky wants a piece. The little bit of cornmeal in there is what gives it that different texture, you know? You don't know what it is, but it's good. All right, there it is. We'll see y'all next time.